Hello, my name is Amanda Lind. I work for Blue Marble Geographic. Today I'm going to show you how to convert raster data into vector. Raster layers are typically single-cell layers made of grid cells, and vector layers are point lines and area features, but today we'll focus on area features. In this workflow, I'm going to walk you through how to create area features from elevation layers, slope layers, and from imagery. First, I have this elevation data loaded. There are two different ways we can create area features from it. One, if you want area features created at intervals, say for example 10-meter intervals, we can use a special setting in the contours tool. If I grab the contours tool up here, you can set your contour interval for how frequently you want the area features to be created. And the setting you want to pay close attention to here is generate ISO height areas. So check this box to create these area features instead of the contour lines. This also enables the create non-overlapping areas option. And what enabling this does is instead of creating stacked layers where they're all overlapping on top of each other, the overlapping layers create holes in the layers underneath them, so you'll have little rings of donuts. Just depends on what kind of data you're trying to extract from. So click OK to generate these layers. And we can see that now the elevation layer is now vector. You can grab the feature info tool and click on any of these layers to see the attribute information associated with it. So that's one way on how to create area features from elevation. Another way to do it is to create it for very specific sections. Let me turn off this layer here. And for that, we're going to use a specialized tool, which we'll use for the rest of these examples, called the Vectorized Raster tool, aptly named. In the Vectorized Raster tool, we can see that it has already detected that we're working with elevation data, so it's set itself to feet. And we can use these start and end values to determine which pixel values that we would like to create an area feature around. So this is where you set similarities. If we leave this at 0, start and end at 0, it'll create area features around elevations that are 0 and nothing else. But let's say we want to create elevation features to encapsulate all areas that exist between 200 and 300 feet. We'll go ahead and set start to 200 and to 300, and then I'll click OK to process this data. And we can see, unlike the intervals in the contours tool, this has only created area features to encapsulate all of the pixel values that have between 200 and 300 feet. Now, to extract slope features, we do it in a very similar way. I'm going to turn off this layer. So right now the data is displayed to show elevation. So if I grab the feature info tool and I click on any pixel, we can see that the elevation reads itself as height. But if we want to read slope values, in Global Mapper, that's super easy. You grab a shader. So I'm going to click this drop-down menu and I'm going to hit Slope Shader, and this just changes the values and how they display in Global Mapper. So now with the Feature Info tool, if I click another cell again, we can see that the slope values are now represented as pixel cells. So every time we click on a pixel, instead of reading the height, it's going to read the slope. So if we open the Vectorized Raster tool again, it will also recognize degrees instead of feet. We can go ahead and interpolate that as well. So just as we did with elevation, if we left these at 0, 0, it would create area features around all areas that have 0 slope, so completely flat areas, and that could be very handy. But for this example, I'm going to grab all features within, or all areas that have between 10 to 15 degrees of slope. Maybe I'm looking to build a house or something that needs that particular setting. So I'll turn off the elevation layer so we can see all of these little elevation features, all these little area features encapsulating that particular range of slope. So it's very easy. You can do it with just about anything. But next, we're going to go ahead and use this tool on an imagery layer. You could also use it on like land cover or just about any raster that has pixels, but for now, we're going to look at imagery. So just as we did with elevation and slope, the Vectorized Raster tool is going to create area features around shared pixel values. So this lake is all one color, so it'll have all of the same RGB values more or less. We can use the Vectorized Raster tool to create an area feature to outline the edges of the lake. So I will open Vectorized Raster again, and we can see that instead of the elevation slope settings, we have color matching options. You can choose the color, and then you can choose exactly how much you want the area features to match. So first, I'll click Select Color, and of course you can click one of these preset colors, but it's easiest to choose the option to pick color from map. So I'm just going to grab one of these lake colors over here. And we can see that this has turned to green because the lake's kind of a greenish color, it looks like this time of year. I'll click OK to keep that color. And we can see, looking at matching, that this lake is pretty much all the same color. There really isn't any variability that we want to take advantage of. So I'm going to slide this matching slider down to maybe 3% there. And we can also see that there are lots of other pockets of dark green colors throughout the image, but we only want this one large lake feature. So I'm going to choose the option to discard areas smaller than about 0.3 square kilometers, so we get just the lake feature. Global Mapper will disregard anything smaller than that value. I'll click OK. And now I'm going to grab the image swipe tool so we can pull back the image, and we can see that the raster has been created. Or the area feature has been created from the raster. So if I zoom in a little bit and pull this back, we can see that the lake, all of the pixel values at the edges of the lake that share that exact raster value are now encapsulated as an area feature. And you can use this in any other processing, cropping, anything you want to do with a regular area feature. So that's how you do it with an area feature that doesn't have much variability in it. But for another example, we could also look at some of this algal bloom that's happening on the side over here. We can see that some of it is very light green, and maybe we're interested in studying that, and we want to highlight areas that have this type of gross green algae. We can do just about the same thing as we grab the Vectorized Raster tool. I'm going to select a color. This time I'm going to grab one of this like deliciously yellow colors. We'll click OK. But we can see that there's unlike the lake, there's a lot of variability in this algae that we wanted to take advantage of. So I'm going to slide this matching bar up to somewhere closer to 25%. And then I'm going to uncheck the box to discard areas smaller than 0.3. But to make sure that we're only focusing on this specific area, I'm going to restrict the bounds that are going to be processed. And I'm going to do that using the Area Bounds tab. There are a couple of different ways to do this. My favorite way is to just draw a box. You can zoom in and zoom out, and just select the area that you would like Global Mapper to consider during processing. Then I'll go ahead and click OK. And we can see, if I grab the image swipe tool again, that it's highlighted those areas that are just problematic in terms of algae. So those are a few of the ways that you can create vector area features from raster layers. For more information, please see our website at bluemarblegeo.com. And if you have any questions, reach out to our technical support team at geohelp@bluemarblegeo.com.